So you know what gaslighting looks like when a narcissist does it, but are you gaslighting yourself? So in today's video, I really just want to share with you three very important things that you really kind of need to stop doing right now if you want to stop gaslighting yourself and finally start prioritizing your healing. When you've been dealing with a narcissist for an extended period of time, like if you've been in a very long term relationship with one, or if you were raised by one like I was, there's a very good chance that you gaslight yourself. Now, that can sound like a range of things. You might, talk yourself out of opportunities. You might tell yourself that you're remembering things wrong. You might second guess everything. It might be extremely difficult for you to figure out what you want to eat for dinner. Like there's so many ways that self-gaslighting can kind of manifest, especially after a lifetime of experiencing it firsthand. And a lot of us don't realize that we are gaslighting ourselves until a while into our own healing journeys. So wherever you are on your healing journey, don't beat yourself up. Don't think that, you're behind or ahead or whatever. Everybody's healing journey is disaster, really. Like there's nothing linear about healing either way. So just keep that in mind and understand that where you're at on your healing journey right now is exactly where you need to be. And maybe this video is your next step. So pretty much the key is to, first of all, if this video is going to be helpful for you at all, you have to at least recognize that you do gaslight yourself. It's okay if you don't catch yourself every single time you gaslight yourself, but just having a general understanding that you do this. That's basically step one. Now let's start the real steps on the things that you need to stop doing in order to stop gaslighting yourself. So number one is to stop assuming that your narcissistic abuser thinks like you. What happens when we assume bad things, right? Nothing ever good comes from assuming something, even if we're assuming the best of another person. We tend to project our own behavior onto other people. And at the end of the day, if you're a decent person with empathy, it's hard to kind of imagine that like people don't think like you. You know what I mean? So you have to first recognize that not everybody has your heart, not everybody has your empathy, not everybody has your decency, but it is natural to assume that everybody else operates the exact same way that you do. So I'm going to just kind of save you some heartache that narcissists absolutely do not think like you. In the love bombing phase, it might seem like they do think like you. They might mirror you. That's something that they do. They'll pretend to sort of be very similar to you in order to create that false connection so they can start with the devaluation, right? So love bombing is always abusive. And at the end of the day, the really important thing to recognize is they literally do not think like you. They always have one agenda, and it doesn't matter who the narcissist is in your life, whether it's a parent, a significant other, a boss, it doesn't matter. They all have the same agenda, and that agenda is to get supply from their targets. Long story short, supply is your emotional reaction, your time, your energy, your attention, your resources, basically any energy and attention that you exert onto the narcissist. Everything they do is pretty much designed to manipulate you and keep you in a state of emotional distress so that they can maintain control over you. So when you're assuming that somebody with this description who's literally trying to have control over you, when you start assuming that they do have empathy and they don't know what they're doing and it's just all so confusing, you're playing into their game. Narcissists create confusion on purpose because if you are confused, you are easier to control. And I tell my clients this all the time, that if you are confused, you are being abused. Because in healthy relationships, there's no confusion. And if there is, it gets sorted out with a civilized conversation in less than 5 minutes. The type of confusion and misunderstandings and conflict that would happen with normal, healthy people is a joke compared to what narcissists make problems into. So keep that in mind. When you project your kindness and your decency onto somebody who's actively committed to destroying you, you're going to be extremely disappointed. You are literally setting yourself up for more disappointment, more stress, more turmoil. And the more that you actively try to fix things with this person, the longer you try and the more time you've wasted, because nothing is going to come out of anything. So the sooner that you can accept that the narcissist's thought process is absolutely nothing like your thought process, even though sometimes there are these little blips of like lucidity where they seem to be normal, that's manipulation. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you're going to be able to break free and start prioritizing yourself. And you're going to be less likely to gaslight yourself into believing that you don't deserve to prioritize yourself because you have to prioritize this person with the fragile little ego and an agenda. The second thing to stop doing if you want to stop gaslighting yourself after narcissistic abuse is to stop automatically believing the words they say. Listen, narcissists will say anything to get a reaction out of you. Literally anything. Any insults or lies they throw your way are carefully calculated to push your buttons and get you to engage with them. Sometimes they will take some things that are true and they'll twist it in a way that makes them look good and makes you look bad. But there's always an ulterior motive to that. Everything they say, even if there is a shred of truth to it, is ultimately a lie because there's a hidden agenda that they're never going to tell you about. So if you know that the narcissist is always basically full of shit, why would you believe the insults they say to you? Why take their words as truth when their entire agenda is manipulation? So it is time to get skeptical. Seriously, skepticism is going to be your best friend when it comes to tolerating a narcissist. There's no requirement to automatically believe that everything the narcissist says is true. And one of the biggest reasons that we believe the crap that narcissists say to us is because narcissists only abuse the people closest to them. So first of all, it's already a pretty close relationship. It's probably a parent or a significant other or, somebody that you're interacting with a lot that you're very close to. And their agenda is always to destroy you. But the reason that we have so much belief invested is because through the love bombing phases, they've created this illusion of trust. And if you trust somebody, you're more likely to believe them. And that trust and that belief is created within that love bombing stage, because love bombing is anything they have to do and say to get that trust from you. And as soon as they're satisfied that they've gained your trust, then they start devaluing you. So this is where you have to really do some digging and recognize, like, okay, when this person was nice to me, there was no real truth to it, but that got me investing my belief in this person because they said what I wanted to hear, or whatever the case may be. And once you start seeing through the love bombing and their tactics for exactly what they are, it's going to be a lot easier for you to stop trusting them as much. And therefore, you're not going to invest as much of your belief into the things they say until eventually everything they say, you're going to be rendered irrelevant by your brain because you're going to know better. And it's one of those things that really comes with practice. And the third thing that I want you to stop doing today so that you can stop gaslighting yourself after narcissistic abuse is to stop hoping that things are going to go back to how good they were before. This really just all ties back into love bombing at the end of the day. And I know that this can feel really heartbreaking because those good moments seemed so real and so great. And, you were on such a high and all you want is for things to return to that. But the thing is that those good times were part of the cycle of abuse. They, like I've mentioned multiple times already in this video, they use love bombing to keep you hooked, to keep you holding on to that hope that things can be good again. And then they never do get good again. Or you'll get like little glimpses of things being good, but they don't actually stay good. And that's your proof that it's just a manipulation tactic to trap you back into the cycle. That cycle is literally all you have to look forward to with a narcissist. And if you need a refresher on the cycle, love bomb, devalue, discard. If there were no good times mixed into the abuse, imagine if it was all bad with the narcissist, you wouldn't be watching this video. It would have been very, very clear to you that there would be no second thought of leaving this dynamic, whether it's a family member or otherwise. But those good moments are the bait. So that false hope you have that maybe the narcissist is going to change. If I cling on to this hope for a little bit longer, maybe things are going to get better. Throw that in the garbage. That's where it belongs. Because at the end of the day, the longer you spend holding on to hope that things will be good with this person, the longer your life is going to pass you by. And you're going to, not to get morbid, but you're going to reach your deathbed and you're going to have regrets that you invested so much of your time, your limited time on this planet, to a person who was committed to destroying you. So as difficult as it is, there is no better time than right now to start accepting that this is who the person is, throwing that false hope into the garbage where it belongs, and focusing on yourself and your healing journey and building a future that is actually real. because that's what you deserve. You don't deserve to be dealing with an abusive person for decades of your life. It's just not a requirement, but the narcissist wants you to believe that it's a requirement. And you might gaslight yourself after watching this video and say that, oh, well, maybe things are not that bad. And if you're telling yourself that right now, you probably need to rewatch this video on how to stop gaslighting yourself and follow the 3 steps that I outlined. Because what's the alternative, right? The alternative is just continuing exactly what you've been doing. If you want to do that, go for it. Not here to tell you what to do. But at the end of the day, if you value your time, if you want to give yourself a shot at a happy life or, happy-ish, or at least, let's aim for mediocre, right? Because the narcissist just makes everything hell. So let's aim for mediocrity. And once you get to mediocre, you can aim for happy and you will actually get there. But it really starts with accepting the reality and doing that inner work. Because if you skip the inner work, nothing changes at the end of the day. And if you're interested in learning more about the inner work, I do also have an amazing community membership. You can get started for less than $1 per day. You get access to my audio courses, live events each month, and all that great stuff. There's another tier that's higher up where you can get one-on-one support from me through Voxer twice per month, and other events and more mini courses and all that great stuff. If you're interested in learning more about that, the link is also in the description. So just to recap everything, the 3 things to stop doing right now so you can stop gaslighting yourself. Number 1, stop assuming that your abuser thinks like you. You are not an abusive person. So it's going to be very foreign to imagine that somebody could really think that way, because you really genuinely don't think that way. And that's also one of those things that kind of keeps us stuck for longer, because we're kind of like, no way. There's no way somebody could be this sinister. But that's the thing with narcissistic abuse. It's so insidious. It is so like under the radar. No one's going to believe you when you say whatever the person did, because it's just so outside of the realm of belief. And this is really where, you have to start accepting that people think differently. Like, humans come in multiple varieties, including the ways that they think. So keep that in mind. Number 2 is to stop automatically believing their lies and, getting curious about why you're so invested in the words they say, because chances are they've manipulated you into believing that their words carry so much weight. Words with a narcissist are just completely useless. Like, their actions and their words never match up. And that also applies to the words that they say about you and about how horrible you are. Just because they say things, it doesn't mean that what they're saying is rooted in any form of reality. It's just rooted in the form of whatever their agenda is, to make you look like the bad guy and themselves look like the good guy. That's all it's about. They just want to get that little ego boost and that little sense of power and control, knowing that they're able to have such a negative impact on your life. They literally thrive off of that. And you are the one who has the power to take that away from them, because they're not entitled to ruining your life. And number 3, of course, was to stop holding on to false hope. You deserve so much more than the lies and the manipulation that the narcissist is throwing your way. And it's okay if you don't believe me right now, but once you kind of start doing your inner work and healing, it's going to start making more sense. So just give yourself some compassion of what you've been through. Take it one day at a time, one baby step at a time, and you will get there. And this will start making more sense. If today's video resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and feel free to also let me know in the comments which of these points hit home with you the most. Remember, you're not broken, you are breaking free, and I will see you in the next video. See you next time. Bye.